Each year across college football, there are players that fly under the radar in the preseason and come out of nowhere to have outstanding, impactful seasons for their respective teams. On that note, these are my 5 under the radar stars for the 2026 Michigan Wolverines. The first player is running back Bryson Kuzdall. He had 326 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 76 carries in 2025. His breakout game was an 100-yard, 3-touchdown performance against Maryland. But with Jordan Marshall and Savion Hyder, Kuzdall is going to be RB3. So, for that reason, he's not going to put up any crazy numbers. He might even fly under the radar through the whole season. But he will be the guy that keeps the 1-2 punch of Marshall and Hyder fresh. He's going to eat quality carries whenever he's called on, and that in itself makes him valuable, and that's why I believe he's flying under the radar, because he is who will keep the top 2 running backs healthy throughout the course of the season, especially if they go to the playoffs and play as much as 17 games. The second player is a guy I said you would hear about again, and that is safety Chris Bracie. He is a transfer from Memphis and was formerly at UAB before transferring to Memphis. He had 81 total tackles, 48 of them solo tackles, 9.5 TFLs, and 9 passes defended, which led the American, as well as 1 interception and 1 forced fumble in 2025. He is an often overlooked transfer addition in the midst of additions such as John Henry Daly, Smith Snowden, Celesi Moa, and J.J. Buchanan all coming over from Utah. But this guy is maybe one of the better additions that Michigan made. He was a starter at Memphis. He played in all 13 of their games last year, and he will be able to replace that trio of T.J. Metcalf, Brandon Hillman, and Jaden Mangum, who all hit the transfer portal. And I believe that Bracie is a better option than all 3 of those guys were last year. I see it completely possible that he messes around and wins all Big Ten honors this year. So keep a close eye on Chris Bracie roaming the secondary for the Wolverines in 2026. The third player is linebacker Nathaniel Stalling. He's a North Dakota State transfer where he was a team captain. He recorded 74 total tackles, 33 of them solos, 1 sack, and 3 interceptions last year with the Bison. Michigan lost a lot of pieces from one of the better linebacker rooms in college football last year. Jayshon Barham, Ernest Hausman, Jimmy Rolder, those guys are all off to the NFL. Cole Sullivan and Jaden Hood both hit the transfer portal. And Stalling, even though we have a kind of scarce linebacker room, he will likely be a backup to start the year at least. But backup linebacker is a very important position on any defense because that backup linebacker, when he's sharing time with the starter, is expected to hold the same standard as the starting linebacker. So if you have a good number 2 linebacker on your depth chart, that makes your defense all the more stronger, and I believe Stalling will strive in that role and be a pivotal piece of Michigan's front 7 in 2026. The fourth player is edge rusher Dominic Nicholls. He is a junior. He is a former 3-star recruit in the 2024 class. He had 19 total tackles last year and 1 sack. He's fast and agile, but he also has a little bit of power. That's something he's been working with from the edge in these last couple of years, and you saw it come to fruition a little bit last year in the limited time he had. But now with Jayshon Barham and TJ Guy and Rayshawn Benny and all of these defensive linemen hitting the NFL or graduating, you have an opportunity now for Dominic Nicholls to step up. Now, obviously, Michigan's edge rush is going to be headlined by John Henry Daly. That's going to be the big guy that you focus on when you're playing Michigan's defensive line. But he will need a counterpart, and I believe Dominic Nicholls is just as good of an option as any to be that successful second man on the defensive line. It could be Cameron Brandt. It could be sophomore Nate Marshall, but I believe Nicholls has already shown the flashes that he is a star waiting to break out, and I believe this year will be the year that he shows his true colors and breaks out in a big way. And the fifth player is Rod Moore.
Intercepted! Rod Moore!
The safety, sixth-year senior. He has only played 3 games since 2023. He's the only remaining player from the 2023 National Championship team, and he has 40 career games under his belt, 147 total tackles, and 7 interceptions in his career. And I know it's shocking to see Rod Moore on an under-the-radar list. I know it is. But after nearly 2 years of injury, it's easy to forget the impact that he has had on this defense when he's healthy. He is a leader in the secondary. He's like a second coach, and he is a crucial piece and has been in his whole career a crucial piece of that Michigan secondary. And others are going to be quick to write him up as washed, or they will predict him to be a hollow shell of himself after coming off of almost 2 years of injury. And for that reason, I believe he is flying under the radar a little bit, because I think he is a huge piece of the Michigan secondary. He brings championship experience to a, at least in that realm, non-experienced defense. And I think he could end up being an All-American by the end of the year. I think he still has all the tools. I think he will still be healthy enough on that knee that he could be an All-Big Ten player, maybe even an All-American, to end off his really successful college career. And I do have one honorable mention before we go away here. I want to mention this guy because no one ever mentions these guys. It is the punter, Cameron Brown. He is a transfer from UNLV. He averaged about 45 yards a punt last year, and his punt long was 71 yards in 2025. So why am I mentioning this? Punters are always under the radar, so why are you even bringing up a punter? Well, ideally, for a team, you never want to see your punter. You never want to have to punt, but they play a crucial role in every game for one reason: field position. Field position is huge in college football. It's huge in the NFL. It's huge in any level of football. The difference between good and bad field position is almost always the punter. You look at Hudson Holland back last year. He was okay at times, but often you'd see him put the defense in tough situations where the opposing offense would be setting up at the 40 or setting up at the 30, when realistically they could be down inside the 20, sometimes even down inside the 10 if you just had a competent punter back there, dropping back, making kicks. Cameron Brown, he's only a sophomore. He's a little bit unproven, but I think he will have a strong, impactful season. I think he's shown the flashes that he has a big leg. And I think having Cameron Brown will be under the radar because he will continually set up the defense for very good field position. That is my list. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree. Any other players you believe are flying under the radar. Another guy I considered was Nate Marshall off the edge. It was kind of between him and Dominic Nicholls for me. I also considered tight end Zach Marshall. I mean, I know a lot of people are already seeing him having a big year, but I think he is a little bit under the radar as well. Same with Hogan Hansen because he's coming back from injury and people don't really know a lot about him. Just let me know any players you think should have been on this list or who would be on your list and whether you agree or disagree with this list. That's all I have for today, and as always, go Blue.